Hello all, Dr. Fox back here with you. The weekend update. What? A different background? Idle Champions D&D. Yeah, we know that's been out since 2017. SDCC Day 1 recap. We're going to be talking about that. Blizzard's big Sepulture raid numbers. Alright, we'll talk about that too coming up. Dragonflight Alpha's been going crazy. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into these dog days of summer, shan't we? Dr. Fox back here with you. The weekend update. How are you holding up in these dog days of summer? Boo! That's how I usually hold myself through for those. Blizzard's numbers with the Sepulture raid changing drastically. We're going to see that. We'll get into those actual dates here momentarily as well. They're doing this big change coming up. They're calling them fated, like FATED or faded. Clarify that because I've done all this research and I'm hearing people say faded and some say fated. Or probably depend tomato probably in that case. Nothing that's that important. Dates coming up August 2nd. They're gonna go into like this 3-cycle thing starting on August 2nd. Faded Castle Nathria. August 9th. Faded Sanctum of Domination, and then the 16th of August will be the Sepulture of the first ones, and then we repeat that on August 23rd, Castle, August 30th, the Sanctum of Domination again, and then the Sepulture first one, September 6th, and it will give them, and in the meantime, you want some alt boosts right now. There's a nice little goodie called, what is this called? Chosen Identity that you have. As well. Well, no, sorry, this is actually separate. Sorry, the new Drakthir. We'll get into the Chosen Identity. This one allows you to default either as a human form or in the Drakthir form. I hope they defaultly have that too for like the Worgen forms to let you do that as well. Sorry, Winds of Wisdom. That's what I'm moving back to. Experience for your alts right now. If you want to go out and get those alts leveled finally that you just haven't had the money to boost them or be able to do that aspect as well. And this past week, let's see, we'll get into that momentarily. Professions as well. Right now, you go like 1 to 100. This is what we found. I know that's sort of old news. Just clarifying, someone had asked me how each expansion goes up to a certain amount with your professions. Like some will go like 1 to 50, 1 to 75, 1 to 150, 1 to 200, etc., etc. And in this one, your professions will go up to 1 to 100, but then there's a little step beyond that. They're going to have these little like professional, or like if you've ever run through one of the dungeons near the end, one of the large, he's got like all the little alchemy, or like if you've played over in Undercity, you'll see like the little alchemy tables and stuff. They put like little alchemy tables down. They got different ones. They're doing a lot of things right now. Really, a lot of streamers are covering the stuff much more in depth. We know here on the weekend update, really just kind of bullet point it and kind of just point it out a little bit, make a brief mention. Sometimes we'll get into the discussion of it depending on certain relevancies. Wowhead has the new shaman talent trees. Those are out for over there if you want to play around with if you're a fan of a shaman. Go can do that. The Drakthir starting zones. I'll tell you one big thing about that. You're not going to have to worry, at least if you're playing a Drakthir in the starting zone. You're not going to need Goblin Gliders or the Stonewind, like the Alliance form of the glider as well. Of course, those tend to be more expensive, I found in my experience. But you won't need gliders. You'll be like the Demon Hunter, where you can go up to the highest point, and then pretty much Demon Hunter just kind of glide down. And you can sort of do that. It would be nice if they give you like these little like crystal things that you can kind of float through. I forget the name of those, allowing you to like get a little more boost again for flight. But I'm not complaining. It's a nice little glide down. That's fine. It's not anything that I'm too upset about. I mean, I can deal. You know, it's a dealable game mechanic. That's fine. That's fine. As well as Dragonflight Alpha. A lot of people have been checking out the 2 new dungeons, the revamp of the Alderman dungeon. A lot of folks have been playing around with that one as well. SDCC, that's SDCC, the San Diego Comic-Con. That is usually what we call the beast of the Comic Cons, or the cons anyway. The really one smack dab center in the middle of the year. We get hit with that really 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 big one. I don't know how to say this. Like I don't want it to sound insulting to other people, but it's tough coming home with colds, and I kind of miss the con. I miss some of the people. If you kind of get my variant on that, I don't want to sound like I'm being too insulting to too many people are trying to. But with that said, I guess sadly Miss Mora, she's rubbing my leg right now. Let's see if we can get her on camera. Hello, hello, my love. Hello, come here. Oh, we were trying to teach her to do high fives earlier. I had to make sure to get her on camera because clearly she didn't want to hang out on her regular camera spot. Miss Pressure. Hey, Miss Pressure. Hey, take it easy. Yeah, we've been teaching high fives earlier. Yeah, she's been a sweet pea, following Mama around everywhere, and then keeping Daddy company over there. He's working hard off camera, getting some work done. So he's not far from from it. But let's get into this SDCC. I wish I had a better background for you, like some sort of like little mini fireworks or something going in here. Day one recap. Now this isn't everything, but at least I'd like to just kind of hit a couple of big large points here. We've seen trailers or discussions come up from Mogwai. Secret of the Mogwai. Sadly, it was supposed to go live early this year, and it was supposed to go live over on HBO Max. But sadly, they pushed it back. They had a little discussion. I was very excited. I always get very giddy. A fellow shout out to you, Zach, as well. I was so excited and giddy, and I just get chills on my back knowing that Zach, once again, will be part of them as well, and he's been cutting some voice work for it, and I know the feeling. I don't know how many times I've had to go in and use my closet because you can't. There's just not a voice booth you can get access to, so you end up going in your closet, and you can sometimes get. I mean, not all of us have money to put up the like the egg crate foam type setup and have a nice little room for it. So that always gets me and makes me chuckle that when Zach goes into his closet, sits down and kind of does some of his voice work right there on his computer and just uploads it that way. I think that's brilliant. But it's excited that's talking about that. A shout out to you, Kevin Smith. They had another discussion with him about Clerks 3 a few weeks back. His trailer dropped for that. As well. I'm sure there's nothing I'm not telling. A lot of this stuff is kind of old content. There's a lot of other people that spend way much more hype time, and they're way up on top of this way before I even know. I'm just sharing a fun little recap of San Diego Comic-Con 2022. The Marvel booth, number 2329, they kicked off their event. They had some events going on over there as well. Rocking through Marvel Live, SDC Day 1 wrap-up conversations. That's another great place that you can kind of check out some of that stuff as well. Some of the big arrivals, we got Marvel's Moon Girl announcement and Devil Dinosaur as well over there. So I think that'll be on the Disney Channel. Obviously, we'll see that on Disney Plus eventually. And for much more, if we cross the R-rated variation, now look, I know we're a family channel over here, but we got to make sure. I want to cover this as well. Deadpool 2, Logan, and I think I got to double check. I have not verified yet. Someone in the comments, please verify for me if I don't get an opportunity to clarify this beforehand. If they've got Logan and then they've got Noir Logan. Noir is like a black and white version I have it myself through like the Google Play Movies before we had Disney Plus. But they're adding Deadpool 2 and Logan on Disney Plus as well. So those guys are coming over there. I know there was talk about putting a lot of more like adult content and R-rated type content over on Hulu for a while, but it was kind of interesting to see that integrate itself there because there's talk, of course, of getting into the integration of having Deadpool sort of step in for that cameo or sort of unspoken word for him to sort of step in for Stan Lee's little cameos. But we'll see whether that will all come to fruition because we know there's a lot of issues there going on internally, and maybe someone's got a better update than I have had. I'm not trying to be the expert on this stuff. I'm just sharing really quick. There is a short first look clip on Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. If you're interested, as well, those know that I always put my links in there. My apologies for having some of the last few weeks' links in a little bit later, but a couple of them I've tried to get in there right after. It's been very difficult over here to get editing done as well. And we heard those announcements. Inkbox unveils a Marvel collection coming out. They featured like the 12-piece tattoo collection and Thor: Love and Thunder. That was a fun movie, by the way. We'll get into that. We went and saw that the other week, but we weren't too happy about some of the seating situation, but I don't want to get too much into that right now. Captain America writings, Jackson and Colin Kelly over there chatted. Sentinel of Liberty stuff going on. They did that. And Toy Hunter Jorgen sits down with Marvel as well. And there was so much more. I'm only hitting a couple of highlights really that Marvel hit on. There's so many more big, huge highlights that came out of those. Are just a couple of things that kind of stood out for me this year. If there's something else that you really got inspired and excited about, share it in the comments. And I'll try to, maybe my next weekend update, I can be like, oh yeah, of course, I'm going to try to hit day 2 and beyond. By then, it'll be a whole week. And of course, a lot of that is going to be so much old news that none of what I say next week will even be relevant at this point, because most people are, they're digging deep in the internet. They know how to find this stuff way faster than I do. So that's just I just thought, let's dabble, put the little toe, boop, and then let the little water ripple a little bit and kind of like dip my toe a little in the SDCC. And I can hear it now. They're like, Dr. Fox, leave it to the professionals. Wait, I am a professional. Wait a minute. What are you saying? But that's a story for a different day. So now to kind of answer the question you got up above here, what is with champion or idol champions of Dungeons and Dragons D&D? Well, again, I want to make sure that I clarify. Nothing I speak about or talk about is ever. I'm not being paid by any of these people. I'm just talking about the excitement there as well, and you can kind of see that they'll post for you when there's new live ones, and they have a lot of fun little codes if you check out their Discord and whatnot. But it's been free this past week on Epic, and they had a couple new ones this week that dropped. I was all excited. I think Wonder Boy came up this week, and then like the shop, that little shop game, I played around with that one a little bit. That was kind of cute. And I know they're gonna have another one next week, and they usually have like 1, 2, maybe 3 games a week that they'll drop through. It's the Epic Games launcher browser that can open, and I got that through Idle Games. Yes, I know this is like a game that's been out since like 2017, and it's been tweaking. But we've been really playing the crap out of it, and we love it because we're like, it's a fun game that just collects gold basically for us while we're doing other stuff. And it's been a lot of, we've just been having a hoot with it. We dug deep into the Discord, and we found all kinds of treasure unlockables, and you can like just type, once you click the first chain, and there's like 12 digits, and then you can change it to 16 digits. When I have been able to find it on Discord, I could just cut or copy and then paste right in there, and it will just paste it right in. This is on the PC. They do have it on iOS. I have been playing around with it on iOS. We've been playing with it on the tablet. My hubby has his on his laptop. I tried it on Nintendo Switch, but saddeningly, that's been out since I think 2020 over there. And I don't even remember talking about it back then. I'm like, maybe did I touch on this in 2020? I don't even remember. I gotta look back at my old. If someone wants to dig around in my archive and find it, let me know if you get that deep and creative with finding anything out. But I've been having a blast with this, and you might notice right smack dab in the middle there of the party, those 9 character parties. You'll notice one of my all-time favorite characters, Dungeon Master, and a shout out to the amazing amazing voice actor who originally did Dungeon Master for the animated Dungeons and Dragons, and it was something featured back in April of this year, and it was just kind of exciting to see that drop. And then of course, good old Uni. That's my other thing. We could say send some love to you, Frank, for your wonderful voices of Uni, and then of course, my good old man too for Prime as well. We of course can't forget Peter, and we love you, Peter. And he did the voice for Venger, and so many more. But they've got the long list. I was watching the other day. I thought it was so hilarious. They're on one of the like voices for cancer or voices for that cares or so. It was like a non-for-profit program, and they popped up on one of the feeds for. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna really hurt myself here. I should have wrote down her name, but she had a little conversation for it was like a 1 minute video, and Frank and Peter pretend to be Prime and Megatron, and they're driving on this like bullet train or just traveling together, and they're doing this little 1 minute banter, and I couldn't stop laughing. Frank has always tried to do that for us, especially when we worked over The Simpsons. I didn't have an opportunity to work with him for very long because most of it had moved to doing the audio at home, and then sending it in. But I I couldn't stop laughing, and if I can find the link to that, I'll try to throw it in the description if I can have an opportunity. But I've just we've been having a blast. They have what's the event going on right now with the little sunflowers, midsummer. It's like the midsummer, and then there's like a Valentine character that you can unlock. And I know one of hey, here's a free code for, I think it was Valentine Day with drop the S. Valentine Day was one of them. There's another really easy one. There's all A's. There's another one that's all X's. And we're thinking of another one. Or what was it? Yay? Like YEAH, was it? Like yay Valentine? Oh, YAY Valentine. And is there any exclamations, or did that fill up the whole? Because I can't do the math fast enough in my head. Is it yay Valentine? That was okay, yeah. So that's just that. You can plug that. Anyway, you can look on Discord if you look up, if you page up high enough, you'll find that there was a whole section that we just cut and pasted. These are just a few that were sticking in my head recently that they've been talking about. Of course, good old Mars over on Twitch. He's been doing a lot of those live events over there, and they give a new code every day. And if you stay up with the Discord, these people, I gotta tell you, these folks are troopers. Like, it seems about every couple hours or so, I think, that we seem to see a code just pop right up there, and I'm like, wow, these people are on it. Like, I'd be like having a small list, like if it was the weekend update set up, I'd have like a small list of like, oh, okay, here's the codes for the week, but anyway, no, I'm a very like my hubby will tell you, like, his wifey will get up and get stuff done for the day. I'm not gonna sit around on my lazy booty. It's just been really hot. As I went from earlier, literally we're in the dog days of summer, and I'm sure many from like Louisiana, Florida, down on the Texas, they're down near the bottom there. They're like, Dr. Fox, that ain't nothing compared to what we got going on down here. Or the other side of the world. And I understand. Just share me your temps this weekend. I know we have a really rough one. We've been already starting to like prepare to be in our room with the air conditioner on us, literally for the day. We're gonna hunker down for the day and bring our little computers up there. I hate to, because they give off a lot of heat, and maybe we'll shut them down and just play with our phones or tablets or something if the day goes on and it gets pretty toasty. And I know the heat rises. So we'd prefer to be down here, but if I could afford it, I would put like the little strips you put like on the windows. I know putting aluminum foil is kind of a low cost option, but you have to also be aware that when you do that, it can like burn. If you don't put it on the outside, it can burn the rims and some of the glass and can be a real trouble. Some people have been able to remove some of that with Goo Gone and whatnot, and it is an option, and it can also glare some of the driving people that go by, so I wouldn't feel right putting it up, just blasting it everywhere, and you'd really have to put it on the outside of it because it can cause burn spots on the inside of where the trim is. But I just don't want to be on that humidity and putting that all up. And like I said, it can be kind of a hazardous situation if someone drives that. Now we are on a dead end street, and generally our sun is on the back side of the home. But if anyone gets a glare off of that could cause a real problem. And I don't want to cause any issue to somebody because we have enough issues with other situations nearby. That's all I'm going to say about that without kind of getting into the details. I think that's going to let us lead into our Transformer reveal, and then we'll do our I love my calendar kitten. And I think we're going to start segueing into season 2. For those that have been paying attention to my last fast Transformer reveal, I'm sure I'm going to kick myself in the butt for saying this, but I'm sure I've missed a season 1. I should have just gone right down through the numbers each day. I should have even taken a little extra time and gone back to check. I'm sure I've been trying every effort I can to go back and try to figure out which ones I did. I've been trying to, and I have been keeping a list, but the list has not been accurate, and I'm getting a little off. So I got to go back and like check these and figure out who's what. And I know it might sound like I'm being a little unorganized, but I'm a very organized chica, and my hubby can vouch for that as well. But I think today we thought, now this isn't the full one, but what's really amazing is this particular version I got was very expensive, and you can actually transform this version, but it's almost like a small transformable version of good old Shockwave. And I'll send out a shout out, of course, to some of my favorite Shockwave was from the voice actor from OG Gen 1. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm really, really impressed with the voice actor who did Transformers Prime Shockwave, and then he's also done a few others. He did one for one of the films not too long back as well, and I love that we got a little integration of that. And I'm just bumming. I wish we could see the voice actor who had done Optimus. Now, don't get me wrong, Ron, we love you. Ron Pullman did an amazing job for Optimus Primal during the CGI Go Power, or the Go shorts that we had come out, like the Combiner Wars that came out. They did a phenomenal job for that too. I was just, maybe it's my epic nostalgia for having the actors from that did not the original OG Megatron. We're talking the Beast Wars Megatron and Transmetals and Beast Machines. And of course, he's done some for Transformers Armada for the Megatron to do that one, and then to also see, and maybe we're going to be surprised when that film comes out. But it's going to be Rise of the Beast, and it would be nice to also see the actor who had done Optimus Primal come back for that. Now, I know there's been a few actors that have covered Optimus Primal, but I don't. That's just me. What I would love to see, and that's like my wish list. But we get it. We understand. There's factors involved here, and being a voice actor, I understand how these factors kind of unfold sometimes, and I get it. And contracts and just red tape and blah 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 and money and all these other issues that sadly don't quite give the fan quite what they want to be able to enjoy. And it's very challenging. And then some will have an issue no matter what you do. But I get it, and I'm just sending some love on there. But I thought I'd share the smaller Shockwave version that I had gotten some time ago to kind of feature. I know we kind of started going on with the Studio Series 86 Gremlock, or the Dinobots, which I mentioned that I said the following week I know I'm going to hit that. I am going to go back. I'm trying to get into this habit of going, and my apologies for breaking a promise if I kept it last week, but I try not to ever set up too much promise, because things do change sometimes. But I've been trying to go from Autobot to Decepticon. That way I'm not trying to do like all the Autobots, and then like if there's a Decepticon fan out there, they're like, I'm not gonna come back until you're done your Autobot run. But that's not so I thought I'd try to switch and try to pick one and go back and forth. But again, if I screw this list up, I'm screwed. I have started a brand new list, so we're gonna go from there. Transformers reveal Shockwave, and I was kind of impressed. I wish they put like a little LED in here. this little purple part of his blaster. You can see it reminds me a lot of like the Ghostbuster blaster. And here's the power up. I felt this one really portrayed, but I didn't realize when I always try to check the height and weight measurements, height width measurements, and I must have missed it in the description or something. And I didn't quite know or quite get what had happened here when it arrived. And for that price, I thought I was getting the full re-release of this beautiful Shockwave done. But it's just to give you an idea, this is an iPhone 12 Max Pro. Look, he's not even Shockwave's just standing next to that. But he is holding a version of him that transforms. I wish they had made a version. You could technically transform this one, I guess, and put it in the larger Bruticus, but I wish they had one that of Shockwave transforming that you could literally put into Bruticus's hand, because one of my all-time favorite episodes is Starscream's Revenge, and having him actually and feel grab Shockwave when he's in gun mode and literally just blast away, and I just thought that was total bad booty, without saying the A word. Exactly. So I thought that it was really neat here. That neat. I think I'd pick a much more larger word these days, right? For this particular Shockwave. Like I said, I wish I had a little platform that kind of rotates slowly so you could get and have better lighting on it and be able to enlarge it a bit more. But this is the Shockwave version that I have here. It also came with like this little crane and a couple of little attachments here as well that you can attach different things to. And it's like almost like, I mean, it's purple, and this is so like a clear as well. And this part does move. This is solid base, but this part kind of moves around like a crane. It's too bad that they don't have like a little motorized. Someone could get really creative. Some of the folks out there would be much more creative than I ever could, and put like an automated little when you'd hit a button on it and go, and it actually make this move. You could like automate that or put in like a real gear or something. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just being silly. So that's part of what comes with Shockwave as well. There were a couple other little variants, but we got him unpackaged, and sadly I would never got him with all of his full parts. And don't even talk to me when we get to Omega Supreme. I'm gonna have to, you have to stick around for that one. Oh yes I will. That's a reference to Wreck-It Ralph movie as well. But when we get to Omega Supreme, it's a long list of eBay parts I had to purchase to finish him completely. This is OGG1, not the re-release Master Series of the re-release of the larger Omega Supreme. Like in the Transformers Earth Wars game, when he transforms, like the rocket to me looks really long and skinny and tall. This one's much more compactor and smaller. Now some of his claws are very loose on this one, or his claw is, excuse me, I said claws plural. And surprisingly, I think we got the motor functions to work, but sadly, part of it kind of clicks, and you'll hear it when I get to it. Again, this isn't about Omega Supreme. That just reminds me. I think now maybe I'll have to pull him out pretty soon. But I think next week we'll try to hit Grimlock again. I think we've talked about him before. And then I'll hit another Decepticon, and then we'll get to Omega Supreme. But I gotta write this down. I have to ask my hubby to remind me after I get off this weekend update. Look, why don't we get into the calendar? I know that the calendar's not going to be showing up for you on screen, because what I've done here is I have loaded the on screen Idol Champions, so that you'll see that part at least. But I can flip if you give me a moment here. And I know with the magic of editing, we could have just like cut all this out, right? But I'm just momentarily waiting, and I thought I had this fired up already. It will be as I continue to what we call fill with no dead air. That was the old saying we used to say back in the day when we would do radio, television, and many other spots when we'd be as a reporter or whether it be a news anchor or something like that along those lines. So I'm going to now click over, and you should, if all went to plan. Ah, there we go. See, look at that. Kaboom. Did I time that right, or did I time that right here? Let's get in here. You might not be able to see these as well. I hope all of you got to enjoy your auction house micro holiday or the auction house dance party yesterday. That one went live over there as well. I hope you enjoyed that. PvP Brawl Deep Win Dunk. World Quest bonus event as well over there. That's ending. Shadowpan Showdown, that's beginning. Always reminds me of Shadowpan Showdown, the animated show that was from like the early 2000s on Kids WB back in the day. Every time I hear that Shadowpan, someone always like comes to know watching me. They're like, wait, is she going to say it? Is she going to say it? Time Walking Dungeon, that's going to be beginning. And then any other raids, like you can kind of see here if you're seeing this on screen, like we ran a whole bunch of raids last week. I was all excited. I think we got my hubby a couple of new transmogs. And sadly, I don't think I got more than maybe one or two pieces. I didn't fill in the set. I just got like some other random transmogs that they drop in there. So it's kind of nice. Thank God, can I mog it? I don't know. A lot of the add-ons are going away, and the only one I want to officially work in the game is can I mog it? That's all like if all other add-ons fail, and yes, TomTom would be an excellent top choice too. But if I had to pick one and one only, I would say, can I mog it or integrate that into the game to put a check mark, an X, so we can see what and who does what on gear. Then I don't know whether I need to sell it or them adding a little icon to it, whether you have it or don't have it. It's a lot of research to do without it, and it saves you a lot of time. And I get it. They wanted you to be able to take the time and play it. And some would say, enjoy the game, play it out the way it was intended for, instead of you kind of rush through, rush, get to the end boss and then you're done or whatnot, or get your best gear done, well, whatever, or complete your mount collection or whatever. Oh, and a big congrats out to this other individual that was streaming. The poor guy, I feel for his pain. He's been farming the Invincible since 2013. He got more serious about it in 2018, and it finally just dropped for him. And they've made it so much harder. Now I know someone says it's not that hard, Dr. Fox. You go up into the dungeon and you run almost all the way through, and you stop before you get to the lynch, and then you quickly jump over another character. But I hate this time gated stuff. You jump over and you're on a. I get so stressed out on so limited time, and they're like, and then others I can hear already screaming at me, Dr. Fox, there's plenty of time for you to jump between the characters. The time strain is not that stressful. And I get it, but it's just, for me, it still feels very, very, very stressful. So I don't feel I know it'll take me that much longer to maybe never find the thing, and that's fine. And now that we're closing in on Shadowlands, I was kind of bumming. We were supposed to be working on a few lines for a particular character coming up at the tail end of the Shadowlands that ended up getting cut. And then they're talking about the Ring of Power coming on I know Lord of the Rings, they had called me. And sadly, I'm brokenhearted that I was watching that. And I'm very, very, very happy for all these wonderful folks. I have no ill intent. It really comes out as more of a satire, or more of just a silliness. And I'm like, I look at the trailer that they have, an extended trailer up on Amazon Prime, and I was sitting with my hubby, and I was like, wait, I was supposed to have that part, or I was supposed to be part of that little group of elves, and I was really kind of bumming that I never got my call back, and I don't know, I just, I miss the process. I don't miss some of the people, but there are some, let me put it that way. You really got to have a good connection with some individuals that you work in the process, and you come to understand how the process works a bit, but then you realize that there's a lot of other pieces of the process that makes it convoluted, complicated, and it bums me out. And I think something to just kind of leave on a good higher note, that there's this cute little non-for-profit I ran across recently too, and they're letting every kind of human being, someone that might be missing a limb, or without saying it in a derogatory way, something that's usually less seen in media. It was kind of nice that they made this like independent film, very high quality, and it was just about a couple of people that were having sort of a like a romantic comedy set up, and it was kind of a short film, and it was just really nice to see like the whole cast was done up from just different individuals that have different types of visual aspects. I think is what the word I will use there for it is. I just think that's fascinating. I've always wished that we could see more human beings that are less seen in these types of individual films and shorts and television, because God forbid if it causes someone uncomfortableness, or they don't think we should be alive or functioning, or we should be tossed in a mental institution. And there's a human being in these bodies, and that we habitate our habitat is habitated within. And I think a lot of people just forget that, and they're so wrapped up in their own mess and their attitude and their issues and everything else, without me getting into like religion and all these other issues that folks have. Not to say that all religions have issues. I'm just saying there are still many that have a lot of troubles, whether it be an individual that has this or has that, without being too specific about it. But I think with that, let's kind of wrap that up. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I know I usually like to share my little insight on the world, on kind of how we're doing, not to be taken as a, what do you call it, those Nancys, or the negative Nancys, or whatever they're calling them, like the new South Park streaming wars. The second movie dropped that Stan's dad became the Karen. Those Karens. I go, because I've been accused of being that, and I'm like, no, my hubby is like, no, you're not a Karen at all, nowhere near it. But and again, I'm not going to get into how people say things about that. And you probably saw it off camera. Yes, I am playing with a little pink. This is like a little bear fan, and I had it a while back. Just sometimes when I need a little extra air around me for a bit. And you can mount it. You can actually, there's not a lot of power in it, but you can plug in a USB to get a little charge off a phone for a little while. I've never used it. I just used the USB-C down here just to recharge the fan. And I can already feel that the poor fan is like struggling. It needs to be recharged, which I'm going to do soon. But I just wanted to play with it a little bit as I'm wrapping up this weekend update. And if it's blowing into the microphone, my apologies. So let's wrap this up. I take a couple of things to try to pull you through this next week of the dog days of summer. And as they continue out west to be plugging away at the SDCC, find a moment to kind of pull back and find your zen, if you will. Call me next week. You know the drill. And once again, we will see you later.